All right. Another DUI related story.
All right.
I don't know if you're aware of it. A Florida lawyer sparks debate about the rights at DUI checkpoint.
Okay.
All right. Drivers at a drunken driving checkpoints don't have to speak to police or even roll down their window.
Right. I've heard that.
They just have to place their license and a registration on the glass, along with a note saying they have no comment, won't permit a search, and want a lawyer.
I've heard this, yeah.
Okay. Warren Redlick contends the commonly used checkpoint violates drivers' constitutional rights. He and an associate have created a website detailing their tactic. They've even made videos. One video viewed more than 2 million times on the internet of their refusal to interact with the police.
Okay.
Doubts over the legality and the wisdom of the tactics have been expressed by the legal experts and local authorities. Redlick of Boca Raton said his goal is not to protect drunken drivers, but to protect the innocent. He said some of the clients who passed breath alcohol tests still face DUI charges because the officer said he detected an odor of alcohol or the person had a slurred speech.
Right.
The point of the card is you are affirmatively asserting your rights without having to speak to the police and without opening your window, he said. Not surprisingly, this does not sit well with the law enforcement officials who insist drivers must speak in order to make the checkpoint work.
Yeah, well, fuck you.
You're fucking up my plan, man.
Yeah, fuck you and your checkpoint.
This checkpoint isn't working because you're not cooperating.
Yeah, well, guess what? It ain't my job to make you to help your illegal search. Fuck off.
Yeah. They pointed out that the U.S. Supreme Court in 1990 upheld the use of random DUI checkpoints, concluding they don't violate constitutional protections against unreasonable search and seizure.
Which I disagree with fully, but go ahead.
They wouldn't be allowed out of that checkpoint until they talk to us. We have a legitimate right to do it, said the sheriff of St. Johns County. If I was out there, I wouldn't wave them through. I want to talk to that person more now.
Why? Where is the probable cause for any checkpoint? There's no probable cause.
No, it's just random.
Yeah, which is a violation of your fucking rights.
Sure.
If there's no probable cause, they're not allowed to fucking stop you.
Exactly. There's a couple of checkpoints out, like in Arizona and New Mexico and whatnot, and they're run by the immigration.
Okay. And
they stop you along, I think, like Interstate 40 and Interstate 25 in a couple of places, and there's been people who've done basically the same thing, that they won't roll down their window and they won't let them in the car. And and the only thing that they say to them, because they want to see your identification,
right?
Because, obviously, because that's a big area where illegals might cross or come through into the States.
Yeah.
And, the only thing that people say is, am I being detained?
Right.
That's the question to go, where are you, because they ask you, where are you coming from? Where are you going? I need to see your ID, blah, blah, blah. And there's no legal precedent that says they have to show that or even answer those questions.
Sure.
And so the only thing that people say is, am I being detained?
Mm-hmm.
And, if they just keep spouting that a lot of the time, that they know that's a no-win situation. And so they just wave you through.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on that in that whole world that just seem weird to me. The whole thing about now you can't tape the cops. You can't videotape the cops in a lot of situations.
Mm-hmm.
What is that about?
Well, the thing is there's really no legislation against that.
Yeah, but the cops will they'll confiscate your shit.
Yeah, they might. But the thing is that at least the stories that I've read about the confiscation of like cell phone video and things like that, they usually lose those cases.
They should lose
because
those cases.
because they're not allowed to do that.
It's the same as a citizen taking pictures on the street.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, what's the difference? Because you work for the city, that makes you somehow fucking different? Fuck off.
Right.
You know.
The widely viewed video was shot December 31st at a checkpoint in Levy County, Florida, by Redlick associate Jeff Gray. In it, Gray approaches the officers with a flyer, his license, a registration, and an insurance card in a plastic bag dangling outside and slightly open car window. The officers' brief examination with it with a flashlight and then allowed him to continue.
Okay.
The bold type on the flyer states, "I remain silent, no searches, I want my lawyer."
Nice.
Police across Florida have seen the video. A spokeswoman for the large metro police agency says that Gray's experience at the checkpoint doesn't mean the no-talk tactic is legitimate.
Doesn't mean that it's not either.
That's true. He was allowed to proceed because he clearly was not driving while intoxicated. He clearly was not intoxicated.
Yeah, but who are they to fucking say?
That's my point. It's just like they don't know that.
They don't know. And they don't have any reason to suspect him.
Right.
Why? Because he's out driving?
Yeah.
And it's dark outside? Is that fucking probable cause now?
Sure.
That's stupid.
Coleman Wright, spokeswoman for the Broward Sheriff's Office, if those officers had reasonable suspicion to believe that the driver was impaired, they would have investigated further.
Sure. Yeah, it's one thing if you're coming out the bar and you watch somebody put you in your car, you know, or you stagger to your car and then you turn on your car and start driving. All right, then you got some probable cause. Fucking stopping 50 people in a row through a checkpoint, that's not probable cause. It's not a fucking police state. Fuck off.
Right. Hail and kill, caller, you're on the air.
You know, man, probable cause is such a weird thing.
Okay.
This is Focus on the Law with Doghouse, brought to you by, you know, whatever, Westlaw or something. So let's say there was a case here in Delaware. The cop pulled over a couple of bikers, and they had, you know, Hell's Angels collars on, and he was asking them the usual question. Well, they were speeding, first of all, supposedly. Mm-hmm. They're speeding, and he asked them the usual questions. Where are you going? And they're like, well, we're out on a run today. He asked them where you're headed, and the guy actually said, I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
So one thing leads to another, and he ends up patting the guy down, and you got any weapons? Nope. Well, I'm going to pat you down. Of course he's got a weapon on him, right? And the cops lost the case. The Hells Angel won the case because supposedly just saying you're not going to talk to the police or refusing to answer a question that isn't cause for a pat down.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. I agree with that.
Okay, well, there you go.
I mean, why you're under no legal responsibility to talk to the police.
Especially if you're not in the process of committing any kind of a crime or anything. You just got stopped randomly just for shits and giggles.
And well, in the state's case, the cops leaned heavily on the fact that he was wearing Hell's Angel colors.
Yeah, but that's crap. That's crap. You can't
do that.
That's
right, because they're a bunch of guys that love to have fun and ride motorcycles.
Oh, that's not what I'm saying. But you know what? Muslims are the fucking guys that love to fucking blow themselves up and behead people. But we can't judge them in the airport at the TSA. Same story.
Well, there you go. Score one for, you know, the fighters of freedom and, you know, the warriors of your right to speed and carry guns and do whatever.
As it should
it's cool. So if anybody asks you, state versus able.
What? Do what?
That is all.
All right. Kill. All right. Well, I got about a year ago, not quite a year ago, back in April last year, for work related purposes, I drove a rental car to Dallas, Texas.
You have to play your bumper.
Which bumper is that?
The Indian.
Oh
tale.
no, this isn't really an Indian tale to speak of.
Okay. All right.
But the car was registered in Illinois. It had Illinois plates.
Okay.
So I was heading into Dallas. I was on Interstate 30, and there was a highway patrol sitting up alongside the on-ramp, and I saw him. I could see him a mile away.
Right.
And I wasn't speeding or anything else. I was just driving along there, and as I passed him, as soon as I passed him, come down off that ramp, comes speeding up behind me, followed me for about, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile, maybe a mile, flipped the lights on, pulled me over.
Okay.
Okay. So, he comes up to the car. He says to me, I said, good afternoon, officer. How can I help you? And he says, well, the speed limit was 70. Okay. And I had my cruise control on, and I had it set at like maybe 72 at the most.
Okay.
And he says, I clocked you doing a little bit fast back there, is what he said.
Oh boy.
That's all he said. Just a little bit fast.
Yeah. Did you?
He says, we're a no tolerance state here.
Fuck you.
That's what he said. We're a no tolerance state. And I said, oh, he says, yeah. He says, we don't, he says, 70's the speed limit. I said, okay. And he says, so he started with the typical line of questioning. Where are you going? I'm going to Dallas. What are you doing in Dallas? Going to a trade show.
Yeah.
Well, why are you driving? Well, because I've got trade show stuff, too much to carry to fly with, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because it's a long walk from fucking Illinois, dickhead.
Yeah, he says, so your employer wouldn't fly you down here, he asked me.
Oh, brother.
That's what he asked me. Well, I know what he was after, because I had Illinois plates.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking for drug trafficking.
Right.
And I knew that. I knew that's what he was after. And he's just like, well, where in Dallas are you going? And I had the, name of the hotel where the trade show was and everything. And I told him, and he's just like, he goes, is this a rental car? I go, yeah, it's a rental car. And he's just like, I'm going to run your license real quick. And I have a clean license. And he came back in like 5 minutes, and he's just like, he goes, well, you got a clean license. You're free to go, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, dude, really? You pulled me over because you just saw the Illinois plate.
Yeah.
That's what you pulled me over for.
No other reason.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to get into it with him because it's just not worth it, not worth the hassle.
Should have had your sign and your paper.
Yeah, exactly. But here's that's the other thing he asked me. He says, he goes, how long are you going to be in Texas is what he asked me.
Why, are you writing a book?
Well, but these are the questions he was asking me. How long are you going to be in Texas?
I don't know, between an hour and 10 years.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole drug detail.
Yeah, well, tough shit. If you got a reason to fucking suspect me, then pull me out of the car.
Exactly. So a few days later, I think it was on Thursday or Friday.
Mm-hmm.
This happened on Monday, but on like Thursday or Friday, I think I was heading back.
Okay.
And I just crossed over on Interstate 55. It kind of crosses from Mississippi, then it goes in through a small part of Tennessee, then it winds into Arkansas, and then into Missouri, and then back into like Missouri again. It's kind of weird. It's kind of jagged down there. So you go through like 20 miles of this state, and then 20 miles of that, and then a few miles of this. So I just came through Memphis. I was heading up Interstate 55. I think it was, I don't know, it was like 10:30 at night or so. And right. there was a state trooper sitting, on the ramp, and I saw him, and he had his headlights on. So I just switched over to the left lane and went by him because he was sitting next to the road.
Okay.
And then I went back over to the right lane. Well, of course, here he comes, pulls me over, same drill, exact same drill.
Fine.
You know, where are you going? Where are you from? You know, it's like, was I doing something wrong, officer? Oh, well, I noticed you were kind of weaving. I was just pulling you over as a safety check to make sure you weren't falling asleep behind the wheel or something.
I was weaving. I switched lanes.
That's what I told him. I said, I saw you sitting on the ramp. I said, I just switched lanes. I said, I couldn't tell if that was a police car or whatever. But again, it's the whole, you know, you're an out-of-state license plate. I'm going to pull you over and shake you down and see what you're up to.
I'm surprised you didn't get a ticket at either one.
Neither one. They both let me go.
Because usually they see that out-of-state plate, they know they got your money.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing anything.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Dude, it doesn't matter. I got a ticket in Wyoming when I was driving back from California when I moved back here. I got stopped in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And there's you haven't really ridden with me a lot, but I do not drive fast.
Okay.
Like, I don't. I do not. Very rarely do I speed. And by speeding, I mean like 5 miles over the speed limit.
Sure.
I'm just a slow driver because I'm in no hurry. You know, I don't give a shit when I plan ahead. And if I say I'm going to be somewhere on time, then I leave and usually get there 15 minutes early because I leave myself a big window. So I was going through Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I got stopped. And the guy's like, do you know how fast you were going? I was like, yep, 70. And he's like, well, you weren't going 70. You were going closer to 80. I was like, nope, 70, cruise control. Oh, no, you were going 80. I'm giving you I was like, no, I was going 70. Period. End of discussion. I was like, pull the fucking thing. You know, and I got all fucking mouthy with the guy. I did. I told him flat. I said, go pull it from your radar gun. I wasn't going 80, but they knew they had me. So he wrote me a ticket.
Sure.
Wrote me a ticket, said I was going 80. And then what am I going to do? Come back to fucking Cheyenne to fight it?
Exactly.
You know, they took my $150. Fucking cocksuckers. Still bothers me. It's 20 years ago.
Yeah, I understand. Well, you know, I knew the reason why I was being pulled over. Yeah. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary, but, you know, I was out of state. I was, you know, on a heavily traveled area between, you know, Mexico and Chicago.
Right.
And, you know, I'm sure that that's pretty routine where they pull you over and, you know, check you out.
You got to have a better reason than that.
I agree, but that's unfortunately the way that they can only, you know, try to curtail that kind of activity.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. But just sucks because the person that gets fucked, it's just like at the airport. How many times do you hear about these old ladies that get shook down at the airport?
Yeah.
You know, it's the same story. And you know they're not the ones that are fucking doing anything. You
Sure.
just know it. TSA's been in business, 15 years at this point?
Yeah.
And in 15 years, have you heard of one 80-year-old lady being stopped with a fucking shoe bomb?
Not a one.
Not a single one. In fact, the only ones you ever hear about that are getting busted at the TSA is who? Richard Reed? Really, I haven't heard of anybody getting busted at the TSA, have you?
Not at all.
I mean, not one big, we found a shampoo bomb or something. You know, there has not been one of those since the TSA started. And I'll be damned if I don't for a minute believe that somebody's not gotten back and forth across the country with an illegal gun and a knife and, you know, all that stuff at this point, don't you think?
It's hard to say, but I imagine it's probably happened.
I've got to think it's happened.
Sure. Well, anyway, to finish up the story, there have been other incidents of motorists refusing to speak at DUI checkpoints around the country. In the Southwest, some drivers resist cooperating at Border Patrol checkpoints, which is what I was telling you about.
Right.
Miles from the Mexican border that are aimed at finding immigrants in the country illegally. Mm-hmm. Based on differences in DUI laws, Redlick has created versions of his flyers for 10 states, with more on the way. There are no comprehensive statistics on how many drunken drivers get caught at checkpoints, which are usually announced publicly in advance and must adhere to a strict set of court-approved rules. For example, the Miami-Dade Police Department has a neutral method of selecting which drivers get stopped, such as every single vehicle or maybe every third vehicle. The Miami Police Department uses the shoot method, in which 10 cars are randomly diverted from a busy thoroughfare to a side road and checked simultaneously by officers, followed by 10 more.
Which, again, should be illegal.
Yeah, just pulling you off the road for no apparent reason.
No reason at all. And the worst part about that is then you do that, and then you give criminals the idea, and they'll fucking dress as a cop and pull fucking 5 cars off the road, kill the people, and steal the cars.
Yeah, something like that. Some crazy shit.
Well, why could that not happen?
It could happen. Absolutely, it could happen.
You know, I mean, that's the fear of these random checkpoints. People will just blindly stop. You can buy a fucking police light that the little dashboard light.
That's funny you should say that, because I actually had a situation like that.
Really?
Yeah, back in 1998.
Okay.
I was coming back from a WASP show at the Odeon.
Okay.
I think it was the Kill Fuck Die tour, as a matter of fact.
All right.
And it was like about 2:30 in the morning.
Sure.
And I was coming down Interstate 77 just before it got to 480
bridge, right?
Yeah. And I'm driving along there, and I may have been doing 5 mile an hour over the speed limit. I wasn't just racing along or anything.
Sure.
So this car gets right up on my ass, and I see one of those little, dash light things on it, and I'm in kind of a dark. It was Garfield Heights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a fucking shitty neighborhood.
Yeah. So I didn't pull over right away.
Right.
Because of that, and I waited till I got down to where the exit ramp off of 77 to 480, where it's really lit.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I pulled over.
All right.
Well, that cop got out of the car and he starts screaming at me.
Right.
Why didn't you pull over? Why didn't you pull over? And I told him, I said, dude, I can't tell if you're a cop. I said, anybody could go to Radio Shack and buy a light like that.
Yeah.
I said, that's not an official light. Well, this is an unmarked police car. I said, well, how could I tell that in the dark?
Yeah. That's why you have it unmarked, so we can't tell. So you got to give us leeway.
Yeah. But he got out of his car and he was screaming at me.
Really? Did you get a ticket from that one?
Yeah, I did. But I went and fought and I got it thrown out.
Nice.
Yep.
As you should have.
So, but that was one of those instances where they had one of those portable little lights that they stick up on the dash.
Yeah.
Try to pull you over.
I'm very leery of those.
I am too. Even back then, that was what, 17 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, it's such an easy thing for a criminal to fucking use. I mean, what's that light cost? $20?
Yeah, you can go buy off of J.C. Whitney catalog or something like that.
Amazon.com.
Exactly.
Bet you can get one.
Sure, you can. I know Radio Shack. When they were still open.
Are they done now?
I think they filed bankruptcy anyway.
Yeah, I know. I've been seeing a bunch of people saying, "Oh, I bought up every fucking fuse that they had in there. $400 worth of fuses for $8."
Yeah, they're closing up their stores. 1,100 stores, I think.
Jeez, oh man, that's gonna really fucking suck.
Because I used Radio Shack all the time.
I use we use Radio Shack when you've come here every time.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times at least.
Every single time.
They always have the little gadgets you need.
Yeah, dude, you can buy these. I just did a quick search for police light on Amazon.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 different ones.
Sure.
Came right up. Yeah, I'm going to stop for that.
Yeah, they just want you to pull over.
I'll be stopping for that now. Dude, they sell the ones that you can put on top of your car.
Yeah, the bar lights.
Yeah. Fuck that.
I agree. At a recent checkpoint, Miami police sergeant said that it's much about deterrence and visibility as making DUI arrests. DeBorda has frequently brought bad news to a family when someone is killed or seriously injured by a drunken driver.
I didn't know that the police's job was to deter crimes. I thought their job was to enforce the laws.
I guess it's all wrapped up in that ball.
I guess.
I'm the one that has to knock on everybody's door and see the pain the person has to go through, he said. Legal experts said it's unclear whether Redlick's tactics will hold up in court. A former Miami state and federal prosecutor, now in private practice, said most states consider driving a privilege and a driver gives up some of their rights.
No, they don't.
You have to roll. You may have to roll your window down and interact with officers, Weinstead said. These guys are all pushing the envelope. Redlick, however, said, to his knowledge, his flyers have been successful every time they have been used. His goal is not to challenge or confront the police, he said. I'm not anti-cop. I'm anti-bad government and anti-bad cop. I support good cops, he said. I would like it if police didn't waste their time with something like checkpoints and would focus their attention on violent crimes.
Yeah, I'm not for the checkpoint. You know what I'm for, though? Honestly, and you'll be surprised I'm going to say this. They should position outside of the bars. If you really want to stop people from driving drunk, be positioned outside of the bars. And you'll stop a bunch of it. And believe me, they'll meet their quotas. Because you know people roll anyway. But, dude, you ever come... You probably don't do this as much as I do. But you ever roll out of a bar about 2 o'clock in the morning? That is fucking dangerous.
Sure it is.
Because you know, if you're not impaired yourself, you know the other guys getting in their cars are.
Sure they are.
You know, that's fucking scary times there, man. I know when I go out to the bars, I always try to leave early. I always try to get out of the bars, or I do not want to stay till close. Because one, there's too many cops that are out, and two, there's too many drunks that are out. You know, most of the time, if I'm driving somewhere, I usually don't drink, just period, because it's not worth the hassle of, you know, one beer, you might as well drink 20 because you're still going to get the same hassle from the cops.
Right.
So you might as well just, you know, so it's either an all or nothing for me.
Yeah.
But it's definitely scary coming out of the bar late. That's for sure.